Welcome to the very first episode of the Peddler Perspective. Today we're kicking off by letting you meet the heart behind Property Peddler, Brad and Brenda Chandler. Before we ever talk real estate, auctions, or business, we want you to know them. This episode's all about connection, who you are, where you came from, and what matters most to you. So let's start simple. Who are Brad and Brenda?
There you go. I was going to say, this last time I think you told me to go first, so this time you can go first. No.
Well, we're grandma and grandma. We're business owners, landlords. What else?
We do some farming,
Oh, yeah.
do investing, commercial.
Like to ride.
We have horses, cows, few grandkids, and that pretty well rounds it up with what we've got. A little bit of everything. So
Perfect. So we'll take us back a little bit. Where did each of you grow up, and what was life back then?
so basically, I grew up in Marissa, little town. I tell people that on Main Street in Marissa is where we grew up and had a lot of fun. I tell people I was raised rich and poor at the same time. So my dad worked every day, worked all the time. Mom spent every dollar he ever made. Actually, now that I'm older, I think he spent some of his own money there too. But anyway, so we actually grew up and we did odd jobs. We tore down houses and busted out concrete and mowed grass and cut firewood and anything to make a buck. Mm-hmm. So that's where I came from.
I grew up outside of Sparta here, and for a little bit, for the first part of my childhood, it was Sparta, and my dad was a farmer and so forth. Came on some hard times and things happened in life, and I ended up moving over with my mother, and we ended up moving to Union, Missouri, and then we ended up in Red Bud, Illinois, and so that's where I graduated high school and went to school for design and actually cooking, and should have been a heck of a housewife. And
oh, she is.
Yeah.
I'll keep her just so you know she's not up for trade.
Anyway, that is me.
So let's go, like, say, a little bit deeper into where that is. So, I mean, there's one of those things that, I mean, as far as the backstory here a little bit. So that's our young, but I mean, whenever you get into this, is that Brenda, I mean, go a little bit about, I mean, as far as your real estate career and where that is. And I mean,
Yep.
how long ago, when did you start that?
23 years ago, actually. Been doing real estate for 24, because Mason turns 24.
There you go.
So
there's always that correlation.
Yeah.
So the age of the sun is is where that correlation goes into that.
Really hard to believe it's been that long ago, but yeah, 24 years ago. And when I got my license, I was working for Farmers National Company, did a little bit with Center 21, went back to Farmers National, broke away, formed another company with a group of guys.
And that was a 20, no, it wasn't 20 years. How many was that? So that was in 2000 and...
I'd have to do some looking.
Yeah, we'd have to do some math, but yeah, so you were an owner of a different real estate company here before Property Peddler.
Yes, and I actually bought Property Peddler when we formed that other company. Lost the name Property Peddler, so didn't pay my dues on it or whatever, licensing fee. So somebody else had it for a little bit in Oregon, and then they used it and they lost it. So then I grabbed it up real quick and bought it back while I was with this other company.
True story.
Yeah.
Had to buy Property Peddler name twice. So
yeah.
The foresight was there, and as it was coming through.
Yeah. Worked out well, actually. So decided.
It was a brief stint with Keller Williams.
Yeah. When we left the other company, it was a brief stint with Keller Williams, and learned a little bit there. And Illinois laws were changing a little bit, and we just wanted to make sure we're walking the right way. And so we decided to create our own company.
That was 2018, right?
Yes, 2018.
2018. So as far as Property Peddler.
Yep.
So yeah, so kind of that's one of those things that kind of how I got here. So whenever you look at it and you say that, growing once we got out of and Marissa in that big town there, that's one of those things that all of those multiple different jobs that you have. And I went to work on the barge lines. Was never going to go to college. Went to work on the barge lines. Figured out how cold it was on the Mississippi River in February. and that job sent me to vocational school. Yes, so that's the one that sent me to, as they say, college. So you get that big associate's degree there, but ended up doing manufacturing for 22 years. As far as that goes, so ran a manufacturing company and had 3 different shifts, and that we did that, and then from between there we switched over and thought it was going to be get into mortgages for a little while. Did home purchases, refinances. Man, that job was tough. That was I said one of my jobs was as a young man was cleaning hog crates on a hog farm. That job was better than doing mortgages, just in my opinion. So that was a whole lot simpler. You knew what to expect. It might have been what the stuff hitting your face might not have been pleasant, but you at least knew what to expect. So anyway, I had met Brenda, and we got into so the purchases, refinances, and did and then she got me into the real estate. Yeah, I asked her whenever we started dating. I said, "Why would anybody ever hire a real estate agent?" True story. True story. It did not go well. The silence was for a while. It's like, what do you? Yeah. So. True. So now she's convinced me why that is, and now it's one of those things that we actually hire agents to sell our own real estate. So,
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, going back to you and Brenda, so how did you two meet?
Yeah.
Match.com.
Yeah, Match.com was right
So is
there.
this an advertisement for Match.com?
Well, I was going to say, he said it was one of those. So
Redbud Ranch and a girl just looking.
that was it. That was the handles. I was wondering if she was going to remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because our families and our paths have crossed many times before we met online. So, and he lived not far up the road from me.
About 7 miles away.
Seen him at daycare a few times when we were picking up our kids, But
Yeah, as we had that conversation, there was she started telling me about herself and where that is, and it's like, okay, I knew exactly. I didn't know who she was, but I knew the family. So her uncle was my dad's buddy in the mine.
Yeah.
So I knew his dad. Her stepmom was actually, like I say, worked at the same manufacturing plant that I did. So it was a small world. And to top it off, there was a picture of her brother in my house.
On the first date.
So
I don't think he planned it, but
no, that's one of those that so nobody ever introduced us. That was one of those things that no proper introduction. So yeah, and all of that closeness, and had to meet online. So glad we did.
All right. So now that we know how you guys met, you guys have been building a life together. What's it been like working together?
Oh, every day's a joy. I didn't say every minute. I didn't say every minute. I said every day.
okay. I'll take that.
That is the way this works. I mean, I was going to say, we look at it as, like I say, every day is a good day. There might be a bump in the road for a few minutes, but it all works out. The average, the end of every day is there's more good than there is
Absolutely.
poor or deterring. So every day is a good day.
Do you guys have any funny moments of learning how to work together along the way? Anything that sticks out?
I always say that it's kind of funny that we have 2 different personality types, of course, and which is the yin and the yang of things. But I didn't know how to work that in the beginning, and so we went to a class about hiring people and talking about personality types. And that's where it really occurred to me that where his strength is my weakness, and my strength are his weakness.
That's it. I'll give you the strength. It was one of those things from where I came from. It was a matter of you did things, you got things done. I never worried about people's thoughts and feelings and how it affected them and what those things were. And that's one of those that she really brought to saying, okay, and I'm not saying I'm good at it by any means. At least I now give it some thought most of the time, not always. So there's the other. But
learning that was like kind of a game changer, because that first year it was like, oh my gosh, I had been my own person for so long in my own business, and bringing him in as a partner and doing business together was like, it was hard. It was hard to learn a different way. So yeah, I definitely think that class was a lot. There's been a lot of growth in between, for sure. from day one of creating Property Peddler. So.
Absolutely. That's one of those things that, that like I say, all the way back to the story I started with, to say she proved to me where the value of an agent was. And I say that's her as an agent. But as far as proving to me the value of a wife, I never dreamed that a wife could be so good. So that is it. I had no idea. I had no idea that didn't even know it existed that the marriage could be that good.
It is.
So
Life is good.
that's it. That's why we get to be so happy.
Yeah.
So,
All right, now let's talk about how you started Property Peddler. What inspired you to take the leap and start something of your own?
do you want the true story?
I mean, the reality is, the true story is.
The true story is that don't get involved with multiple partners that are all equal.
Well, I mean, the partnerships are hard. And
Partnerships are difficult.
when you are in a partnership where everybody argues, fights, and oddly enough, there was this reel that came across today that said something about, to the effect, and I don't want to, but when people always don't get along, and just the true story, it said that to the effect of snakes, I would rather be honest, blunt than deal with a snake. And it made me think back to a post I seen from one of my partners one time. It said to the effect that you guys are all snakes, and then till the last man standing, you guys are all going to be miserable and so forth. And I thought, well, number one, I'm not a snake. That really just hit me. I am not a snake. And I did not realize that once I left, I'm not going to be miserable, So I shed my skin. I shed a different way of thinking. There was a lot more growth once we stepped outside of that partnership in reality, and being stuck in those ways and those thought processes was part of it. I didn't even realize some of the mentality, I guess that was kind of stuck in those ways. But that's what it was. We fought, we argued a lot. And everybody always thinks they're right? And everybody, everybody always thinks they're right. And even if you're saying the same thing, I had one partner, me and him would be arguing the same point, just saying it a different way. And the one partner says, you do realize you guys are both saying the same thing, you're just saying it different ways. And I looked, I think that really was happening. I'm like, this is silly. So it was just better for us all for me to walk away from the situation and just do something different in reality.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah. So, yeah.
What kind of motivates you to keep showing up for Property Peddler? What's your motivation?
Oh.
My motivation, is one of those things is that I enjoy what I do. As far as where that goes. So that's one that I do. I do enjoy it. I enjoy the clients. I enjoy the differences that, each different deal is a little bit on the different side. We look at it as far as that with where we're at right now is that, that like I say, we've got wonderful employees that have been with us a long time. So we're going to make sure that things keep rolling along for them and that things get better that way. But the big thing is that I don't know, I feel like I'm good at it.
That was the first thing that came to my mind when you said that was staff. What makes me show up every day, I owe it to the people that work with us and work around us to show up every day, as far as that goes. I do enjoy working. And to look back at what we've done so far, it's been fun. I can't wait to see how it goes forward. So.
What would you say are some of your biggest successes by branching off and starting Property Peddler?
The biggest successes, I'm looking at this as saying that that we actually get to advertise our own selves, our own ways of thinking, and that whenever people hire Property Peddler, they know what they're getting. Versus whenever with the prior was one of those, there was multiple different agents and everybody had different ideas and things. And at least Property Peddler, our goal is to actually put the same experience or the same value or quality of experience for each one of our clients.
Yeah,
So,
I do agree that I think the standard that we have built is some of that success. I wouldn't say it's so much the own, because we do try to make it as a company, and some people think that it's a company that's a little bit, isn't that a nationwide company? No, but thank you for thinking so, or things like that.
in the future, right?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Who
But
knows?
it's one of those things in the aspect of what we built, the people that when we go, oh, it's Property Peddler or stuff like that. I do think that's kind of neat, and the deals that we've had the opportunity to work in, I'm very thankful for the standard and the deals and the people that we've had on our team. I've learned so much along the way. So whether the people that are with us today, the people that have taught us along the way, the growth. I'm proud of the growth, actually. So as far as that goes, that's what I'm proud of. So yeah,
Yep.
as a person, not the growth as a company, the growth as a person.
Yeah, and that's one of those. Yeah, so you get into some of those interesting. Like I said, one of the a particular deal that we would get into is that the one was we needed 16 signatures for one sale.
Not all of them.
And
agree.
yeah, that was 16 signatures for sellers. I believe it was close to 2 years that it was. But we actually ended up with all 16 signatures. Come to find out, in the end, we only needed 3 that were legal signers. But all of everybody, the family wanted to have everybody on board as far as that one goes. So that was one of those. I don't know, feather in your hat kind of things that we definitely stuck with it. Worked with all the families, went to multiple total families meetings to go through that with them and say, okay, to answer the questions, and that wasn't he said, she said. And the nicest thing that we deal with on that is that whenever we do get into those where there's family members, is that like I said, I personally pride ourselves, and I'm sure Brenda does too, is that the nice thing is that we can have the same conversation, whether it's the executor or the trustee or whatever it is, with any family member, because in reality, we tell them all the same thing. I'm not good enough to figure out what I said before, so it's always the same truth. So I can't keep track. So that's one of those things that's one of the big things as far as that I'm, like I say, kind of really proud of, is that whenever we deal with the families and the estates, and that basically everybody gets the same story, because there's only one story.
Very true. All right. So as we wrap up, when you think about the future, both personally and professionally, what excites you the most?
I was going to say, we just had this conversation yesterday, but I don't know what she's going to say right now. So just so you know.
Well, yeah. So as investors, there's been we've gotten into investing at almost the beginning, like right around, we got married. I think we were buying one to invest in a property.
Yep.
So as investors, to look at what we've done with our investments, I'm not one that likes to be in debt. Don't like debt. But
I'll never be out of it.
We have been in debt for a long time with investing, and now looking at what that's done for us, and moving the money around and getting a little bit more about trading up properties and moving things around. It is kind of exciting to look at those numbers, and I would just balance sheets change a little bit. That's kind of fun, just because I know we built it. We started with nothing.
Nothing. So, but yeah. So
Yeah.
as you get this whole thing, is whenever you talk about, like say, what we do is investing in real estate, and I mean real estate is what we do. Now there's a lot of other fun things along the way.
Yep.
A lot of other friends and things that we get to spend time with. Not near enough, but real estate is really what we do.
And the friendships that we've built are huge too. They are very huge. And
Yep. So I tell Brenda, and I tell everybody else. So whenever I met Brenda, I had a house in 10 acres that I had the payment on, and I lived paycheck to paycheck. And if I missed a day worth of work, that was going to be an issue. So the investing in real estate has actually been able to say, okay, I get to take a week off on vacation as long as it's planned. Still don't get the day off but.
And then we still have goals that we're shooting for in the future, that where we get. What does retirement? You're always building for those things, and what does that look like for everybody? And so, yeah, it's one of those things you can't start too soon, and and still taking time for family is a huge thing.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Everybody should take some time for the family.
So, yeah.
All right. Anything else you guys want to share or talk about on today's episode?
Not on today's episode, but I will tell you, like I say, to look forward. Like I say, this is the meet, the greet, to get to know us. We're going to dive deeper into all different aspects, different people that we're going to have on the show. Like I say, we're going to share the insights of some of our personal investing, as well as looking at other people and how they invest. So the goal here is to help people become educated and become more successful in their lives.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you for being open and sharing your story. The first episode really sets the tone for what the Peddler Perspective is all about. Real conversations, real people, and real connections. To everyone listening, thank you for joining us for episode 1. This is just the beginning, and we're excited to bring you more stories, conversations, and perspectives in the weeks ahead.
Thank you for joining us today on the Peddler Perspective. If today's episode sparked a thought, a smile, or new idea, share it with someone who'd enjoy the ride. Until next time, we'll be here, working the land, serving our clients, and bringing you more stories worth hearing.